I'm Frank Moore, and I've known that I've been HIV positive since 1987. That's when I tested positive. And you're stepping on the basil there. The way I figure it is I'm already past the median survival time for... I mean, isn't the average person with AIDS diagnosis dead in 18 months?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I guess I feel lucky to be alive and still able to climb rock piles.
It was strange coming back here. It all sort of collapsed in on me. I was remembering where I had lived, who I'd slept with, everything. So, at any rate, maybe we should just look at some pictures now. I don't have a linear mind. I don't work in series. I have a mind that kind of spirals through time and has these little like zips that sort of branch off of the spiral as it's like moving through space. And it kind of sometimes can loop back and then go forward. The real breakthrough for me was when I began to try and create a point-for-point correspondence between my life and the image. Like, I tried to take every major element of my life, things I loved the most, hated the most concerned about, and move them in some form into the picture, and then see what it looked like. The paintings show elements of anger focused outward. There are various kinds of challenges to institutions, medical institutions. This picture is probably the peak of the work that I was doing about AIDS. It's called Wizard. And it's sort of an apocalyptic landscape, and some of it's funny, some of it's sad, some of it's really scary to me. After that, I began to sort of back off and give it a rest because it got sort of intense.
Avec nous sur ce plateau ce soir, Frank Moore. Bonsoir Frank,
Bonsoir.
Merci d'être avec nous. Frank, vous êtes américain, vous vivez à New York, vous êtes peintre et vous êtes l'inventeur justement de ce ruban rouge qui dans le monde entier est devenu un signe de solidarité avec les personnes touchées par la maladie. Alors Frank, expliquez-nous ce ruban, d'où vient-il
Ça s'est passé il y a 3 ans. On avait à l'époque la guerre en Koweït.
La guerre du Golfe.
Oui, c'est ça. Et on voyait partout aux États-Unis des rubans jaunes que les gens utilisaient pour montrer
leur solidarité
ou bien leur espoir que leur bien-aimé rentrerait en bon état et pas enseveli dans un cercueil. Et ça m'a frappé qu'on pouvait se préoccuper tant à l'égard des gens, des soldats dont peut-être 79 sont morts dans la Golfe, tandis qu'à l'époque, on avait déjà 100 000 morts du sida, ou plus que 100 000 morts. Et j'avais déjà perdu mon amant, et donc en dehors de ça, j'avais perdu plein des amis, et j'étais moi-même séropositif. C'était vachement dur à l'époque. On pouvait parler du sida. Well, I got this house like 5 or 6 years ago with my then lover, Robert Phelps. This is the barn where I paint. It's kind of a mess in here right now. Spent a fair amount of energy, time putting this place back together. I built this porch that we're sitting on. I got these columns at a yard sale. I put up these lights that you see in the, if you look up, see that light? Oh, wow. Oh, shit.
What'd you get?
Staghorn beetle. Can you see that?
Uh-huh. How did you spot that?
I was just crawling on a leaf.
I've been involved with many different media. I think it's been really important. And all of that is fed into what I do now.
And the last work of the evening was a collaboration by Jim Self and Frank Moore, a critically acclaimed ballet called Beehive. Its dancers are clad in fake fur bee costumes, and the story features a good bee named Biella, a drone named Huckabee who fails miserably in his attempt to pollinate a flower, and a bad bee named Bemuda.
It's a serious work, but it's a very strange work, and so it has an unavoidably comic aspect, which I hope people will enjoy.
Some time ago, I got this fashion designer, Gianni Versace, saw some of my work, invited me to dinner, liked it, started giving me a commission. The first commission, we said, do garden, let's do a garden. And the basic theme was to reduce people to the size of bugs. So you see up there a guy interviewing a mayfly, there's a guy riding bareback on a caterpillar, there's a woman playing cat's cradle with a spider. You're saying the frames look very elaborate and handmade, and are they an integral part of the work? Norman Rockwell, he once said I would no sooner send a painting out into the world unframed than I would send my children to school undressed. And it's such a ball. I mean, the frame is the most fun part of the work. It can kind of enhance, it can kind of contradict, it can play all kinds of games that I find interesting. These were both pictures for Johnny. They both are mammals, large mammals that I think most of us have only seen in zoos. But when I was growing up, my mother sung a lullaby to me, Home on the Range. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where never is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. There's that song, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine." It's like if you have a talent, you want that talent to bring light into the world to help everybody else, if you can.
This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Down in my heart, well, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, well, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
What you're actually seeing through that little hole is such a tiny part of what's actually going on all around you.